Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of colors by the Joint Armed Forces Color Guard and remain standing for the national anthem by the U.S. Army Brass Quintet. Please take your seats. To provide tonight's invocation, please welcome Rear Admiral Margaret Kibben, Chaplain of the U.S. House of Representatives.
Would you pray with me? Almighty God, you are our strength and our shield, a very present help in times of trouble. On evenings like this one, we honor the valiant deeds of these 6 service members that you show us how it is that you make manifest your protections. While newsprint has captured each of their remarkable stories, we ask that you would speak through the awards this evening and reveal to us the depths of their courage, the complexity of their dire moments, their genuine love for their fellow human. And in hearing these tales of their fortitude and faithfulness, may we give appropriate tribute to the bravery of these selfless Americans. Remind us, as these heroes will inevitably assert, that each of us are just ordinary people, sometimes called to respond to extraordinary circumstances. In these moments, may we remember that the strength these heroes drew from, the ideals they defended, the foundation of compassion which compelled them to act, are all found in you. So may we celebrate these brave souls who have shown to us that there is no greater love than that which comes from you. May we, when called, each be willing to live into the legacy of virtue we celebrate this evening. In the name of our Rock and our Redeemer, we pray. Amen.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Chairman and Director of Military Times Foundation, the organization which oversees Service Members of the Year awards. Mr. Michael Reinstein.
Good evening. It's a great honor to welcome you all to the 2022 Service Members of the Year Gala. Tonight's event is a true celebration of service. Since these awards were first established in 2001 by the Military Times, Service Members of the Year has recognized men and women in uniform who not only excel in their respective official duties, but more importantly, make a difference in the lives of others. Aside from being called to serve, their sense of purpose, vision, passion, and energy is a shining example of our nation at its best. Since our foundation was established in 2019, over $10 million has been donated through our Spotlight program to groups who support service members and their families during and after service. Next year, these awards are going to be expanded to include the Space Force. We'll honor our first Guardian of the Year. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to thank our presenting sponsor, Fisher House Foundation, as well as Elbit Systems of America, Leonardo DRS, the University of Maryland Global Campus, IHG, Army Hotels, Sandbox, Delta, Club Monaco, the Nationals, and Escada. Tonight, we would not be possible without the generous support of these organizations. Several special guests are here with us tonight as well. They include members of Congress, Senator Joni Ernst, who's graced us with her presence again this year, Congressman Mike Garcia, Congressman Glenn Grothman, Congresswoman Marionette Miller-Meek, Congressman Greg Murphy, Congresswoman Victoria Spratz, and we also have many senior military joining us tonight as well, including Admiral Linda Fagan, General David Alvin, Lieutenant General Jody Daniels, Lieutenant General Tony Barnfind, Lieutenant General Michael Plain, Vice Admiral Ross Myers, Master Chief Petty Officer Heath Jones, Sergeant Major Michael Saucedo, among others. I also want to thank Deputy Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, John Tien, and the Chairman of the Board of Veterans Appeals, Cheryl Mason, for joining us tonight. I'm going to show you a brief video to give you a little bit of a preview of what's going to happen this evening. Thank you all.
To serve has a lot of definitions, but to serve your country, I believe, only has one. That's to step up when it's needed and take care of what you need to for the country.
It doesn't matter what branch, it doesn't matter what service. It's about being a proud patriot.
It means looking out for those around me, giving back what I can, and doing the most that I can for everybody else.
Serving the community, serving your family, serving the military, it won't stop. Even when you do get out, I still feel like you'll want to be part of something bigger.
My view is that we can all pick our spot where we can serve in whatever way that we can and do our best. And so we feel like this is our calling and this is our mission. And so we'll always do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Kira Phillips, ABC News anchor and correspondent for ABC News, and her husband, John Roberts, co-anchor for America Reports at Fox News Channel.
Good evening, everyone. So glad you're here. What a beautiful setting. The music and the lights.
What a lovely night. We're glad you all made it through the rain here and didn't get too wet. Traffic was a little bit of a problem coming in, but we're off and we're running right on time. So welcome to another one of these wonderful, wonderful events.
And of course, we're very excited to be here supporting the Military Times Foundation. John and I have been working with the Military Times and the Service Members of the Year for a few years now, and of course love everything about the program. We were talking in particular, our kids came with us as well, and they were asking about the program. I said the best part is hearing about all the heroic acts that these individuals have taken on and done for our country. That's really the best part of this program.
Absolutely. We're so amazed every year to hear these incredible stories of the winners and the sacrifice that they have made for their comrades in their community. And this year is no different. We've got a wonderful program lined up for you over the next couple of hours, recognizing service members who truly have gone above and beyond the call of duty.
And you know, the Fisher House Foundation has been a proud sponsor of the Service Members of the Year award for more than a decade now. And as a trustee of Fisher House Foundation, I couldn't be more pleased to introduce our next speaker. Here to tell you a bit about what Fisher House does and why our partnership with the Service Members of the Year Awards makes sense, really, and why we are here. Please welcome Chief of Staff of Fisher House Foundation, Mary Considine.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's nice to be out here. I'm thrilled to be here tonight, but obviously, considering who we're honoring, more than a little humbled. I cannot think of a more welcoming audience to talk to about Fisher House. At the heart of our mission is the network of 92 Fisher Houses. Each one is a home away from home for military and veterans families dealing with a medical crisis. But more importantly, each Fisher House is a tangible symbol of our support. It's our love and our respect for those who have selflessly served this country. It is this foundation's goal to help provide an environment where families can focus solely on the healing process, free from financial worry, finding a place to stay in what might be an unfamiliar city. More importantly, when a family walks into a Fisher House, they learn very quickly that they are not alone. That was Zachary and Elizabeth Fisher's goal when they completed the first 2 Fisher Houses at Walter Reed and Bethesda, or I should say Bethesda and Walter Reed, depending on your perspective. And that's our guiding light today. Our founder, Zach Fisher, said, "There's a dignity and a majesty in the efforts of our armed forces." And the service members and veteran of the year here tonight are examples of what that looks like in today's real world. Fisher House is so proud to be the sponsor of Service Members of the Year. It gives us a chance to recognize the quality of those who have dedicated their lives to service and defense of this country. So thank you for allowing us to be a part of this celebration of extraordinary people who volunteer to serve, and more importantly, to serve others. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mary. Now it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Deputy Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. John Tien was sworn in as the Deputy Secretary back in 2021. Prior to becoming Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security, he spent 10 years serving in senior executive roles in the critical infrastructure, financial services sector as a managing director at Citigroup. He began his career in public service at the United States Military Academy at West Point, where he was the very first Asian American to ever serve as the first captain and brigade commander, West Point's top rank cadet position. For the next 24 years, he served as a U.S. combat arms officer, retiring in 2011 at the rank of colonel. He's a veteran of 3 combat tours, to include serving as the Task Force 237 Armored Battalion Commander in Operation Iraqi Freedom. His military decorations include the Bronze Star with 1 Oak Leaf Cluster, the Combat Action Badge, and the Valorous Unit Award. Ladies and gentlemen, here to introduce you to this year's Veteran of the Year, it is my honor to welcome to the stage the Deputy Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, John Tien.
Thank you very much, John and Kira. Really appreciate the fact that you do so many of these. I go to quite a few. I'm really glad that we're in maybe the endemic stage of this, and we're getting to see more in John, of Kira, and really being able to celebrate our military community, our veterans, and our active duty service members. Thanks also to Military Times, to the Fisher House, and to all of the other sponsors for supporting this amazing event, which brings all of the services together. Really, truly a joint opportunity to celebrate our heroes, to include within the Department of Homeland Security. Just one little call out, I won't call all those services, but to our Coast Guard rescue swimmer, Joshua Carlson, you'll hear about later on. So again, a round of applause to John and Kira, to the sponsors, and to all of the awardees. Now, I'm up here for a very specific purpose, and that purpose is to introduce, not the awardee, not yet, that's going to be coming from Michael in a little bit, but actually to introduce a video that talks about the Military Veteran of the Year. The Military Veteran of the Year. He served already one time, way back in 1988. He graduated from West Point. And then he went on to serve in the 7th Infantry Division. He was an artilleryman, he was an airborne ranger, jungle school, and most importantly, I would say, because in terms of being inspired and all of the things he did as the Military Veteran of the Year, he went to Operation Just Cause in Panama and saw a lot of things. It was combat action, 1989, and when that happened, one of his fellow soldiers, was a person named Sergeant Gibbs, died, left behind a little girl. And when this veteran came back, at that point in time, he was an Army lieutenant, then captain, came back from that and started to think, he didn't think about all of the different things about his own family. He started thinking about, what does it mean for the families, in particular the daughter of my fellow serviceman, my fellow Army soldier in the artillery unit that he was in Panama. What is it really going to mean for her? How can I be of support? And so he stayed in contact with that family, tried to continue to be supportive to her. And when this person, this veteran, finally got out of the Army, went to Harvard Business School, started in the private sector, some people would have sort of stepped back, maybe written a check and sort of been done with it. Not this veteran. This veteran in 2002, actually 2001, took a pause and thought, how can I not just serve my fellow service members, daughter, whose father is no longer around, how can I serve many more? How can I bring it to scale? How can I be contributing to the military veterans community and to the military community? And so what did he do? He started something called the Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation. Now you can look in the bio, you can look in the very good glossy pamphlet that you have there, you can read about the Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation, but the bottom line is that they provide scholarships and tutoring and helping kids whose parents have died in the active service. Line of duty, be it combat, be it post 9/11 combat, line of duty, and says, how can we help these kids who have lost a parent? Could be a mother or a father. How can we help them in the rest of their lives? And for over the past 22 years, the Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation has given over, and wait for it, $51 million to 2,300 kids over the past 20 years. It is phenomenal, and there is still about 23,000 children out there who are in this unfortunate pipeline who are going to need this help. So tonight, we honor a person who I've known since dating myself in the honoree a little bit. I've known him since 1984, so for more than 35 years. I knew him as a cadet, knew him as a lieutenant, I knew him as a banker, as a fellow financial services person, as part of a community called Veterans on Wall Street, and really as the CEO and co-founder, along with his wife, Cynthia Kim. David Kim, class of West Point, 1988, artilleryman, 7th Infantry Division, Operation Just Cause veteran, the CEO and founder of Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation, who deserves a huge round of applause. And we're going to do a round of applause in a second, but please absorb this video and realize when it was time for him to give back, when it was time for him to think, how can he contribute? He found a way, and he found a way to do it at an amazing scale, and he's still doing it. So let's please, round of applause, and then let's watch this video.
Army was a tremendously transformative experience for me. The discipline, the hard work, the teamwork, the attention to detail that you learn. I think as I look back on it, the most important part that I didn't really come to appreciate, maybe even until after I'd been out of the military, was how special the people are. My name is David Kim. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation, and I'm an Army veteran. There's a number of different reasons why I decided I wanted to serve. Number one, I love America. It's the greatest country in the world. Secondly, there's a long tradition of military service in my family. My dad's a Korean national. He fought with U.S. troops during the Korean War and then found an opportunity to come to the United States after the war, and so we're always grateful for the opportunities that we've had in this country. When I graduated from West Point in 1988, I became a field artillery officer and then went to Ranger School and then served in the 7th Infantry Division. The most memorable moment from my time in service was the morning after we kicked off Operation Just Cause in Panama.
Keep in mind of what a difficult and very large operation this is.
Operation Just Cause was basically to remove Manuel Noriega. He was the dictator of Panama. He was making a lot of money from being in league with narcos that were trafficking through his country and money laundering. And so we've been living in Panama since October, protecting the American citizens that were stationed there or living there, working the Canal Zone. Once we removed Noriega, the people were just overjoyed. It was great to be a part of helping those people. Sergeant Gibbs and I were in the same unit in Panama in 1989 when we kicked off the invasion, and he had a baby daughter due in March. He was the only member of our battalion that was killed. I just kept thinking about that little girl and who's going to take care of her, what was going to happen to her in the future. And so the idea came to me to start a group to give college scholarships to military kids from all branches who lost a parent in the line of duty as a way to honor the sacrifice of their parents. And so that's why we started Children of Fallen Patriots. Fortunate to meet Jeanette McMahon and her 3 boys fairly early on in the life of the foundation, and we've been blessed to be able to get to know them and help all 3 of them go to college and honor the sacrifice of their dad, who unfortunately was killed in Afghanistan.
The help that Children of Fallen Patriots provided, it was certainly financial, but it was really emotional. They provided support in a way that was just genuinely heartfelt, and they made me realize people in this country were behind the soldiers and the children that had lost parents, and they were committed to making a difference in their lives.
We've been very blessed by the good Lord in many ways, and one of those is what He's allowed us to do at Fallen Patriots. We've sent over 2,300 to college so far, with over 1,100 that have graduated, all debt-free or very soon will be.
Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2022.
I'm tremendously honored and humbled to receive this nomination. I'm really just accepting this on behalf of Fallen Patriots and the incredible people that we work with, the Gold Star families who made the ultimate sacrifice. We've made a really good start, but there's a lot more work to do. And so we feel like this is our calling and this is our mission, and so we'll always do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Military Times Foundation is proud to present the 2022 Veteran of the Year Award to David Kim, co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation. Please welcome David Kim to the stage, and once again, Michael Reinstein.
Thank you so much. I'd just like to thank Mike Reinstein, Mort Greenberg, Kelly Facer, and everyone at Military Times who've just been incredible partners for us over the last 5 years. They've provided Fallen Patriots more than $650,000 in free advertising, which equates to over 100 years of college for our students. And so that's a tremendous impact in addition to all the awareness that they've built for us. So thank you very much, Mort. I'm not a distinguished veteran. I'm certainly not in the same league with the other honorees, past and present, who are here this evening, but I am really thankful and honored to be here as a representative of the thousands of people across the country who make Fallen Patriots possible. First of all, the Gold Star families that we serve. We owe them a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid, and our mission is a way for all Americans to honor their sacrifice. We also are so thankful for our hardworking staff, many of whom are themselves Gold Star students, and they're now giving back to their peer group. We're thankful for our incredibly generous and engaged board, especially our matriarch, Mrs. Holly Petraeus, and our chairman, Mr. Tom McGann. We're also so thankful for the thousands of generous individual and corporate donors who make our mission possible. And lastly, I'm thankful for my bride of 25 years, Cynthia, who is my co-founder and been with it every step of the way. Finally, it was Pericles who said 2,000 years ago, "The freedom is the fruit of happiness. Happiness is the fruit of freedom. Freedom, the precious gift of valor." Cynthia and I are incredibly thankful to be part of this mission to honor the valor of our fallen patriots who make our way of life possible. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, David. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with tonight's program, and we'd like to welcome our keynote speaker to the stage. She served in the military for more than 23 years and retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Iowa Army National Guard. She's also been quite the friendly supporter of Service Members of the Year for many years, and she is a fierce advocate for our military. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Senator Joni Ernst.
Oh, thank you. God bless you, and good evening. And thank you, Kira, for the wonderful introduction. And I always enjoy the opportunity to come spend time with all of you great folks right here in Washington, D.C. And as a former military commander, the daughter of a former Iowa National Guard NCO, and the mother of a newly commissioned second lieutenant in the United States Army. Thank you. I'm very proud. Very proud. Our service members do hold a very, very special place in my heart. You all have chosen to defend your country and fight for the values and the ideals that we all cherish here in the United States, and for that, you have our eternal thanks. To our military families, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the sacrifices you make, allowing your loved ones to serve our country bravely. We can never say it enough. When the men and women of our armed forces raise their hands to serve, their wives, their husbands, their sons and daughters are making that extraordinary commitment to the defense of our country as well. When your family service member heads out the door for an exercise and overseas deployment to keep this country safe, you are carrying the burden of the unknown. Your sacrifice, your humility, selflessness go unnoticed far too often. And to all of you, my sincerest thanks. For all of our families, many of you have been thrown into the circumstances of an unexpected deployment. You've missed those birthdays. You've missed the anniversaries. How many of us have been through that? Yeah, all of us have, I know that. And many other special events, moments that really, they cannot be adequately recreated. My own daughter, who just graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point, was set to be married in June. But her fiance, a fellow Army soldier, was deployed earlier this year as part of the NATO response force. So the wedding is now scheduled for the fall, pending his redeployment. So it's not ideal, and we miss him greatly. But you know, folks, that's the life of service that so many of us in the room have voluntarily committed to. But you know what? These are the very smallest of sacrifices. As I learned and read about the honorees this evening, 2 words marked all of their stories: leadership and service. They've given great sacrifice, a commitment to put others before themselves, an unwavering willingness to put their lives on the line, rescuing innocent civilians in perilous situations, saving the lives of fellow service members, engaging the enemy in combat, landing damaged aircraft, fighting ship fires, and providing supports for children of the fallen. Congratulations to all of you on achieving such a humbling and special honor. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you've sacrificed and how you've served our great country. Now, many of you have heard me share this story before, but if you'll just indulge me for a moment longer, I do want to speak about what called me to military service, and I ended up serving over 23 years. So when I was a much younger woman before the silver hair, I had the opportunity to serve in an agricultural exchange in Ukraine. And this was in 1989. It was still part of the former Soviet Union. I was between my freshman and sophomore year at Iowa State University, and I embarked on this journey to Ukraine. This Iowa farm girl, had never been on a plane before, and I was headed overseas. And I spent a number of weeks on a collective farm in Ukraine. A number of other Iowa students were there with other host families as well. And in the evenings, we would come together on that collective at the community house, where we would gather on the stage and visit with others from the collective. And when we all came together that first night, the Ukrainians, can you imagine what their first question to these American students was? And remember, it was an ag exchange. The first question the Ukrainians asked us was, what is it like to be an American? It was a pretty powerful message. The second question, what is it like to be free? So this 19-year-old woman, while I had always been a proud American, it really hit me then. What an incredibly beautiful and special nation that we have, that others all around the world wish to emulate what we have right here in the great United States of America. And when I returned to Iowa State following that exchange, I decided it's not enough to be a proud American, but I had to do something to give back to my nation, to help support those ideals, those values, and those freedoms that we take for granted every single day. So I know that many of you choose to serve and honor, provide freedom for those, not just here in the United States of America, but to those like those Ukrainians all of those years ago who wanted to be like us, Americans. It's why we choose to join. It's why we go to the fight. It's why we sacrifice our time, our money, and ultimately, for many, far too many, our lives. Folks, I believe in our military, our service members, and their families are the best, truly the best among us. I'm honored to be in your midst this evening and to be here with the honorees. Thank you again to the Military Times, all of the wonderful work that they do in hosting this wonderful event. Again, a huge congratulations to all of our honorees this evening. Without the service and sacrifice of our military men and women, we wouldn't enjoy these freedoms that we are blessed with. We wouldn't enjoy the liberties that we have. And frankly, we wouldn't be here tonight. It's because of the countless brave souls who have fought for our great country that we are able to gather here. So God bless our armed forces, and may God bless these great United States of America. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take some time to enjoy your meal. We will continue with our awards program shortly.
It's not just a roof over your head. That obviously is important. But the byproduct is what goes on inside the house.
I've had the fortune of staying at a Fisher House on 3 separate occasions.
The biggest thing about Fisher House is the moment you walk through the doors, you're home.
One of the great things that my supervisor recommended was the Fisher House.
Pues no sabíamos nada de Fisher House.
I wish more people knew about the Fisher House and not find out the way that I did, which is, you got hit with something and then Fisher House showed up.
My favorite day was the day we helped the lady who came in crying because she thought her husband wasn't going to make it. And just kind of got her mind off that for like 5 bites.
I'm less than, I guess, 20 steps from the front door of the VA hospital. It's very convenient where Fisher houses are located. In fact, there may be a lineup to evacuate me out of my room, but I'll fight all the way. That Marine spirit never dies.
Never was so much owed by so many to so few.
"Send me," said the American soldier. You defended our freedoms with valor, and for generations, we have honored the brave few. For those who served, for those who sacrificed, thank you. We are Albert Systems of America, and we are veteran strong.
Today, Tech Ops is going to rededicate the Spirit of Freedom as our ship 694 that we had dedicated back in 2012. We're going to bring in all the military branches, so when it pulls up at the gates, you'll see the Spirit of Freedom and all the branches that give us that freedom every day.
We've been doing this now for about 5 or 6 years. We have a program to recognize the veterans that are working here.
The Armed Forces community is such a big part of Delta. Today we have 3,000 of our current employees who are still active members of the U.S. Armed Forces and 10,000 of our employees who are veterans.
It means a lot to me that Delta cares enough to at least name an aircraft in honor of the freedom that so many have fought and died for, and so many that work here have, served. It's quite an honor that they actually take the time to give us that much respect.
I served in the United States Navy from 1974 to 1980. I learned to work on airplanes in the Navy, and I brought that to Delta. We have other aircraft that are dedicated to other causes, but it's very nice to have one dedicated to veterans. I'm proud of that.
Everybody at the gate sees that logo, and everyone getting on our aircraft will see our dedication to the veterans. For a major airline to pull an aircraft out of service and paint the whole aircraft, in addition to park it here for 2 days for the employees to come by, just says what our company thinks of veterans and to thank them for what we can do today for every veteran out there.
When Jackson said he wanted to join the military, he was like 16 years old. It made me nervous. I remember looking at the schedule for boot camp, and a little bit of my heart was breaking. When I served in the military, I got letters from my parents and from my siblings, from aunts and uncles. Sometimes I wouldn't receive them for days or sometimes even weeks, if at all. So using Sandbox for our family meant that Jackson was going to get the letter right away. It was sort of instant gratification knowing that he was getting a letter from home sooner than if I would have sent it in the mail. Sandbox made it so that I could just pick up my phone and write a letter to him, attach a photo, and hit send. It's that simple. Then Sandbox turns it into a physical letter that gets to my son overnight. And so each letter, I put a lot of attention into bringing home to him. And he used the Sandbox paper that was provided and the return envelope. And as soon as we'd see the red, white, and blue envelope, everything felt right with the world. Like in that moment, I knew Jackson was okay.
A birthday without her mom, an anniversary without her husband.
her wedding day without her dad. These are the days when military families feel it most of all. The loss of their soldier, their sailor, their airman, their Marine, their Coast Guardsman. Families never forget their loved ones lost to war or illness or suicide. Families never forget, and neither do we. We are TAPS, the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. We provide resources, support, and comfort to heal the hearts and meet the needs of grieving military families, all at no cost to them. Your generosity can make an enormous difference in the lives of the families of our fallen military heroes. Our military families need to know they are not alone and they are not forgotten. Show them your support at taps.org.
Ceremonies for the evening, Kira Phillips and John Roberts.
How's everybody doing? Oh, come on.
How was that dinner? Was that not a great rubber chicken dinner that you had here tonight? No, I mean, rubber chicken pales in comparison to what we had tonight.
No, this is a beautiful
terrific.
setting. And everybody's getting to know everybody at your table and meeting new folks, hearing their story, yes? Yep. Okay, all right, good.
Now we're moving on to the portion of the night where we introduce you to our service members of the year. This is a very exciting part.
And our next speaker just literally came in from a flight. Matter of fact, Congresswoman, was it Ukraine? Was it? Straight in from Ukraine, Whoa. Okay? She is going to kick off the second part of our program, Soldier of the Year Award. Please welcome, representing Indiana's 5th Congressional District, Representative Victoria Sparks.
It's my honor to be here. You can't really fly exactly from Ukraine right now, but it's pretty close. But it is my honor today to introduce Major Nicholas Dockery. He has been described as in the top 1 of officers in the Army and the best ground combat leader. Those words are backed by his actions, including 2 incidents in Afghanistan that led to Dockery earning 2 Purple Hearts and 2 Silver Stars. In the first, he continually crossed open terrain under heavy machine gun fire to protect wounded soldiers and perform life-saving aid. In the second, his team came under attack in the desert. Dockery risked his own life to coordinate multiple attack helicopter runs and save the lives of several U.S. and Afghan military personnel. Dockery is attending graduate school at Yale University as a part of the General Wayne Downing Scholarship Program, which is reserved to select Army officers. It is my honor also to call Major Hoosier, and our nation owes the highest appreciation and the highest honor to honor people like Major, This is people who are willing to risk their lives for freedom. And they will be always number one on our list. And I am so honored to be here tonight. And I also want you to watch a brief video about Soldier of the Year. And may God bless all of you, all of your families, and may God bless this great United States of America.
Delta, confirm you have eyes on. Cover fire!
Everything's exacerbated. Minutes feel like seconds, and seconds feel instantaneous. Tackling Sergeant Mitchell from a grenade that exploded within seconds. That is one of 3 moments in that day that will forever be ingrained. My name is Major Nicholas Dockery, and I am in U.S. Army Special Forces. I'm proud to be part of an organization that has done so much for our national security and that continues to train security forces all across the globe. Throughout my Army career, I have been an infantry platoon leader, security force advisor, an executive officer for an infantry company, and a special forces detachment commander. I would say I've worn a multitude of different hats throughout my short tenured career in the military. In 2012, I was assigned to the 4th Infantry Division in Fort Carson, Colorado. I was almost immediately forward deployed to Kunar Province, Afghanistan, where I met a very well-seasoned platoon that had already seen 2 to 3 months of heavy intense fighting in Kunar. There became a security gap in a place called Kapisa Province, Afghanistan. The majority of our adjacent units had already left the area, and it put us at an incredibly vulnerable position. My forward observer and I got the radio call that they needed immediate reinforcement, and he and I sprinted across this open field to link up with Sergeant Mitchell and his element. When I arrived, Sergeant Mitchell was in a standoff with a machine gunner. Another team leader informed me that they were completely surrounded and running low on ammunition, and had sustained a urgently wounded U.S. soldier who needed immediate medical attention.
So in the compound, it's just a small open area, kind of like the one behind us, and then a whole group of buildings all connected to make one big building, I guess, and then just doors. And Nick grabbed myself and the other NCO, and he just walked straight up to this door and boots this thing in and goes straight into clearing the rooms. And before we could make a decision whether to go right or left, there was another machine gun laying down fire on top of us. And at some point, I didn't see it, Nick did, a grenade comes up over the wall.
I felt a vibration in the ground, and then I saw an object land directly in front of him.
And at that point, out of nowhere, I'm still holding my Mark 48, and he grabs me and rolls over.
I tackled him and slammed him behind the door exactly as it exploded. The situation only got more intense after that. I realized I was missing Sergeant Jack Hansborough. When I went back into the alleyway, Sergeant Hansborough was completely unconscious. I presume that he had passed, and 2 enemy fighters were trying to drag him away. And I was fortunate enough to close with and eliminate those 2. And with the assistance of Sergeant Mitchell, we dragged Sergeant Hansborough back to cover. He wasn't breathing or conscious. That's when I started life-saving aid on him. He started coughing profusely, which was an elation of joy to know that he was alive. It was truly a harrowing situation. In 2018, I found myself in a very similar situation in Faryab Province, Afghanistan. The number of enemy fighters increased by tenfold. 3 or 4 enemy fighters attempted to overrun my truck. We quickly formulated a plan to defeat it. We grabbed a handful of grenades each, opened our doors, threw them on their position, and once the threat was eliminated, we immediately went back to supporting the rest of the convoy.
I didn't think anyone would ever do that. You see those things in the movies, but you never actually see it happen. I got to see it happen, and from that point on, he was not just my LT, not just my platoon leader. That was my friend.
I was thankful that they had lived, but I felt an immense amount of guilt for having their lives permanently changed. I must have had 1,000 nightmares. I don't think I ever I absolutely love being a Special Forces officer. I'm immensely proud of it. I'll continue to serve as long as the Army will allow me to serve, and I'm thankful for the opportunities I've had. I think it is truly an organization that allows you to come from very humble beginnings that I came from and achieve things that you never would have thought of in any other capacity.
Wow, how is that for an amazing and riveting story? Ladies and gentlemen, here to introduce the Soldier of the Year, please welcome Major General Clement Coward.
Truly my honor to represent the Chief of Staff of the Army, General McConville, and the Army senior leadership this evening. Without a doubt, Nick epitomizes the Army values of leadership. He was repeatedly demonstrated loyalty to his Special Forces teammates, the Army, and the nation. His dedication to duty is undeniable. When his supervisor asked him why he wanted to go to graduate school, his response was that he believed that it would better prepare him for the challenges that he would likely face in an increasingly complex and interconnected world. He was willing to put himself in harm's way many times to protect his soldiers, being awarded 2 Purple Hearts and 2 Silver Stars are a testament to that. Tonight, I am proud to have Major Nicholas Dockery honored as the 2022 Military Times Soldier of the Year.
Please welcome Major Nicholas Dockery, the 2022 Military Times Soldier of the Year.
Good evening. That was a bit intense. I felt like I was there all over again. Thank you to the Military Times Foundation and Mr. Reinstein for this distinct honor. I stand before you a humble man who once walked amongst the giants for whom legends are written. As I reflect on the journey that brought me here, I'm reminded of my time at West Point, where I learned about leadership. I recall my time in the infantry as a young platoon leader, where I polished those fundamentals under the careful and watchful eyes of our nation's greatest warriors, non-commissioned officers. Those NCOs taught me courage under fire and how to lead by example. Lastly, I think of my time in Special Forces as a young detachment commander, where I bore witness to acts of heroism, gallantry, and valor that only the crucibles of combat can expose. I'm forever thankful to these NCOs that supported me and believed in our team. Teammates who uniquely understood the importance of defending democracy no matter the cost. And if we ever need a reminder of this, we need look no further than the white gravestones lying in Arlington just down the road. So again, I'm humbled and I'm honored to stand before you on the shoulders of giants that believed in me each step of the way. I'm nothing without the mentorship and support that I received from great NCOs and leaders, and I will pay those lessons learned forward as I continue my service to this great nation. Thank you. God bless America.
Nicholas, I just want to point something out, ladies and gentlemen. Not only is he a hero, but when I came over to my table, he was the one that pulled out my seat and handed me my napkin. If only my older daughter wasn't married. Are you coming back to the table? Okay, he needs a moment. Well understood. Oh, again, congratulations to Major Dockery, true gentleman and a true hero. Now I would like to bring to the stage for our next honor, Representative Greg Murphy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all, especially our active duty military, for your service to this great nation. I'm very proud to represent North Carolina's 3rd Congressional District in Eastern North Carolina, and it's my privilege to profile the Military Times Marine of the Year from my very home district, Major Corey T. Jones of Cherry Point. Just had a wonderful dinner with he and his wife, Lori. As the proud representative of over 89,000 veterans in Eastern North Carolina, I cannot tell you what an honor it is to recognize such an exemplary Marine from our community. During a training mission in 2020, Major Corey Jones' life changed in an instant when an F-35B collided with the KC-135J Super Hercules tanker. Both right-sided engines and propellers were damaged or missing. The fuselage and landing gear were both damaged or missing, and the right external fuel tank caught fire. Despite the extensive damage to the plane, Major Jones and his crew managed to successfully land the aircraft in a California field and evacuate with no serious injuries. They avoided what could have easily been a catastrophic situation. Major Jones was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross for his heroism during the 12 minutes between that collision and the safe landing of the Hercules. That 12 minutes must have seemed like an eternity. Major Jones' superiors credit his elite pilot skills and exceptional knowledge and study of previous in-flight incidents for his success that day. Since the incident, Major Jones has volunteered to give safety briefs to aviation units across the services to help them learn from what happened and what he experiences. Please join me in taking a look at the next video.
LA Center, Raider 50 declaring emergency mid-air collision with Bolt 93. We have 2 engines out. We're leaking fuel and might be on fire, and an emergency descent at this time. Raider 50.
There was an explosion, and that's when my heart stops. I'm like, okay, we're in an uncontrollable situation. There's a fire on the right wing. I can't climb, and I can't turn back to the airfield the whole way down. Stall, stall, stall.
We got a plume of black smoke on the ground in that MOA. So there's at least 1 aircraft down, it looks like.
I'm Major Corey Jones with the United States Marine Corps, and I am a KC-130J aircraft commander and instructor. So I chose to be a pilot just purely because it's exhilarating. I like adrenaline-seeking activities, and being a pilot, I thought there'd be no better activity for that, and it also gives me the opportunity to support the Marines and other services. On September 29th, it started as just another normal day, standard join up, nothing out of the ordinary. We had to refuel 1 plane at a time. We refueled the first F-35 on the left. Once he was complete with refueling, moved him over to the right, which is our standard procedure. Before we could react, we were impacted on the right-hand side by that F-35. There was an explosion on the airplane when he hit the fuel tank. The propellers have been sheared off the front of the engines. It's extremely loud in the cockpit. You hear a lot of wind noise. Every master warning and master caution is going off. There's lights flashing. And I start trying to talk to the other pilot and realize I can't talk to him because all of our headsets have been thrown off in the collision. There's definitely emotions that are going through my mind. Having very close friends that were involved in a C-130 mishap in December of 2018. All crew on that were killed. My first reaction after the impact is, I can't believe this is happening to me too. My first son, having been born a few weeks prior, he and my wife, my whole family are going through my mind immediately. Our gunnery sergeant called out to us and said, there's a fire on the right wing. Where that fire was located, we have no fire suppression capability on the airplane to put it out. We're typically taught that a wing fire, you could have anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds of structural integrity of the wing before it would separate from the aircraft. I've got the number 2 engine all the way up as hard as it'll go. I've got the number 1 engine almost as hard as it'll go. And the airspeed's still coming off of the airplane. I can't climb and I can't turn back to the airfield, so what we got's what we got out here off the nose. So we pick a field. We recovered, which is pretty unusual to be able to recover from. But we recovered from being in that condition in the last 30 seconds the whole way down. It's just stall, 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 stall. I've never been trained to have an aircraft, hit me and lose 2 engines, have a fire, have a rapid decompression, have our landing gear removed from the airplane, and conduct a gear-up landing in a field all on the same flight. Some of those aspects were introduced during training, but not all compounded together. But we fought from the time we were impacted until we got down into that farmer's field. We fought for our lives the whole way down. We all met up on the road, hugged each other, thanked each other, and then we waited. I can't believe that we just walked away from it. That was kind of the feeling. Extremely grateful, and everybody did a phenomenal job. It wouldn't be without each of them that I would be sitting here talking to you. This award really is a crew award. It should be Marines, plural, of the year, because there were 8 of us on that crew that day. And without all 8 of us doing our job, none of us would be here.
Wow, that is just something that you couldn't even anticipate, so how would you ever train for it? But now, if it ever happens again, then no problem. What an incredible video and story. Ladies and gentlemen, here to introduce the Marine of the Year, please welcome the Assistant Deputy Commandant for Aviation, Brigadier General Matthew Mowry.
Okay, on behalf of the Commandant of the Marine Corps and Marines serving across the globe, I want to thank the Military Times Foundation and all the sponsors for having the privilege to come up here and recognize not only Major Jones, all the award recipients, but I also want to give a quick shout out to Major Jones' wife, Lori, who's here, who also serves as an Air Force nurse, and the son that you saw in the video. And we're also joined tonight by their newest 2-month-old daughter and Corey's parents as well. So thanks for coming, everybody. As you could see in the video, Major Jones really represents what's best in Marines everywhere. A Marine who, as we saw on what should have been a normal training day over California, when the unexpected happened, he was calm under pressure. He had won the respect of his crew, so they reacted as he directed. And really, a pilot who took his training to heart, paid attention to everything he was told, and after a moment of crisis, went in and let the training take over and got all of those crew down safe on deck so we could introduce his newest daughter here tonight. So we're glad you made it there. Major Corey Jones was the pilot at the controls during the Raider 50 mishap involving an F-35B striking a KC-130J, resulting in the loss of both aircraft. Major Jones was able to fly the severely damaged KC-130J to a field where he landed it without causing injury to himself or any of the others on board. He saved the lives of the crew in a situation that easily could have resulted in a total loss of life. Major Jones exemplifies the qualities that any leader would be ecstatic to have as a member of their team, and I am proud to have him honored as the 2022 Military Times Marine of the Year.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Major Corey T. Jones, the 2022 Military Times Marine of the Year.
Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you members of Congress, distinguished visitors, all the senior military leaders for your attendance today. I really appreciate it. This is quite the honor for me, but honestly, like I said in the video, it's not. This is not a me award. This is a crew award. So on behalf of the Raider 5-0 crew, all 8 of us, thank you for this nomination and this recognition. Without each and every individual on that crew doing their job that day, we and myself would not be here speaking to you today. So I thank them for their hard work, their dedication to this, and I wish they were here with me to accept this award. Thank you to my family, my mom and my dad, my son and daughter that are here, and my niece, Cassie, and my beautiful wife that's here with us as well to support us and continues to support us through our military career. And most of all, I thank God for giving me the opportunity to be here another day because, quite frankly, after that day, there's undoubtedly, without a question, I would not be here without him. So thank you all for the support. And thank you for this recognition.
Major Jones, congratulations. All right, our next award, we would like to welcome to the stage former Navy pilot from California's 25th Congressional District. I believe that Top Gun was based on Garcia. What was your call sign? F-18 pilot. What was it? Mach? Like, oh my gosh, like Eric Estrada, Ponch. That makes perfect sense. Coming up here, Ponch. Much more successful. Eric Estrada's career didn't go very well after Chips. Let's bring up the Honorable Mike Garcia, to introduce our Sailor of the Year.
Well, thank you all. What an honor to be here tonight. I want to thank you guys for this tremendous privilege to be able to be among heroes. I have the distinct privilege tonight of not only introducing the Sailor of the Year, but also the Coast Guardsman of the Year. And I'll say before spoiling the climax that these two gentlemen make Aquaman look like Scuba Steve in what they were able to do. And as a naval fighter pilot on a carrier, I had the lifelong goal of never ending up in the water. And I was successful in that, and the heroics that these gentlemen were able to accomplish are truly extraordinary. To Major Dockery, if you're out there still, I just want to say, sir, you did nothing wrong. Shed the guilt. You're a warrior, you're a hero, a saver of lives, and take pride in that, brother, and shed that guilt. You have nothing to be guilty over. And I'll also say, go Navy. To Major Jones there, as a fighter pilot, it gives me great strain to commend you as a tanker pilot, but that was probably the coolest communications on the radio I've heard in a distress environment, especially an emergency of that nature. So Major Jones, congratulations, Bravo Zulu to you. This evening I'll be introducing ASW-1 Cole Foy, shipmate, someone who was based in San Diego. He was on a vacation on the beaches in May of 2021, May 2nd, when he saw a boat capsize in the ocean near San Diego that threw more than 30 passengers into the water. Petty Officer First Class Cole Foy was at the beach with his family. His wife, Min, is here tonight with us, and as the wives out there know that you can only imagine what was going through her head when she saw him spring into action. Saw the incident and quickly responded. After running half a mile to get to the water, he swam almost 300 yards through rough waters to reach the passengers. AWS-1 Foy pulled passengers into a part of the boat, the ship's cabin, that was still above water, where they were able to stay until rescue boats could reach them. Foy remained on the scene at the pier for more than 2 hours to offer medical assistance. AWS-1 is truly the leading first-class petty officer for the Navy and instruction for fleet replacement aircrew students. As a former fighter pilot, these are the guys that we relied on to save our lives on a daily basis. If we went into the drink, it was folks like Foy that went into the seas regardless of the conditions, whether day, night, sea state 5, or the most beautiful day. They would jump in and give their own lives in support of the downed crewmen. And he was a trainer of these elite athletes as well as military leaders. Command fitness leader, morale, welfare and recreation president, and an indoctrination coordinator for new personnel checking into his command. And so I welcome you to watch this very moving video with us as we pay tribute to AWS-1 Foy.
To serve has a lot of definitions, but to serve your country, I believe, only has one. That's to step up when it's needed and take care of what you need to for the country. It's not only for my family, it's not only for your family, it's for everybody that lives in the United States of America. My name is K.O. Foy, AWS-1 United States Navy. My job in the Navy is an MH-60 Sierra crew chief, air crewman, and a rescue swimmer. I chose the Navy because it looked fun. The recruiter really got me when he said, you're able to jump out of a helicopter and go save a life. And I'm like, you had me at jump out of a helicopter, you know? Right now, I'm an instructor at a MH-60 Sierra Fleet Replacement Air Crew Squadron. It's a mouthful. But my job right now is to send the best air crewmen that we can to the Navy right now. And this is their last stepping stone before they hit it. So I want to make sure that that standard is set and they're hitting that standard. And it becomes a very, very tight-knit family. There's not many of us in the Navy. We do PT on our own. We don't just do the normal required PT on the daily. We come out super early in the mornings because sometimes our flight schedule is too demanding. It doesn't allow us to work out at a specific regime. So if we got to come out earlier, we'll come out earlier as a group. July 13th is one for the history books, especially for the Navy. The USS Barnhart Richard caught fire, and it just became out of control to where no one was able to go into the hole to fight it because it was too hot. The Navy called upon us, since we're used to dropping water, usually in the forestry type situation, but this time it was on a big metal hole. Since it was something that was never done before, there was a lot of structure within the ship hull itself that we really had to maneuver around. Along with that, fighting the debris and the smoke that was coming up, and just fumes were everywhere. So whatever we fly through, we're breathing it. I remember nasty metal, like just hardcore, like as if I was chewing on a piece of copper. I'll never forget that taste. It didn't really hit me until I got on top and I'm looking straight down, and I could probably see about 5 to 8 just decks, just a hole going right through it. And all you can see is just that bright orange amber color, and it's just like, whoa. That was the first time in Navy history that the helicopters ever put out a fire on a ship. I think that's pretty awesome. The service never does stop. It could be something as simple as driving home and you see someone pulled off to the side of the road that needs help. I'm going to be the one to help them out. If it's someone in trouble in the water at the beach, I guarantee you we're going to be the ones jumping in to go help somebody out. And that's not just the rescue swimmer specifically, that's for all military. I believe that in my heart that everyone is willing to help each other out. It was May 2nd. We were out on a hike with my family. That's how we always start our Sundays. We just noticed a boat kind of off in the distance. And then all of a sudden my wife looks back and she says, oh my God, there's people on that boat. And I look back and sure enough, the boat hit the rocks and people are starting to bellow out of it now. And at that point, like, it just kicked in. All my rescue swimmer training that I've done for the United States Navy was ready to go. We hop in the water initially, fuel's everywhere in the water, and oil slicks everywhere, there's debris everywhere. We had a couple survivors in sight of us. We brought everybody back to a fuselage part of the ship. Kind of like the cabin cuddy, it was still barely afloat, semi-buoyant, enough to get on, essentially, to not drown. I just kept swimming, going to grab other people. And by then, one of the lifeguard boats came out from up north, and the jet skis kind of took over at that point. I did what I felt like I had to do that specific day, and that Navy training kicked in, and there was nothing that was going to stop me from doing it. I have the best job in the Navy. Being a United States Navy rescue swimmer is just an amazing feeling. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or the next year. There's a reason why we're training, and our job is to be in the Navy and to be the best sailor you possibly can be, so let's do it.
Wow, he swims so well, the fish are jealous. Just in awe of that story. I mean, can you imagine being there on the beach in San Diego? We go there all the time, and boat capsizes, and you're in the water, and you're out there 900, almost 1,000 feet away to start rescuing people. To introduce the Sailor of the Year, please welcome the commander of the U.S. Fleet Cyber Command, 10th U.S. Fleet, Vice Admiral Ross Myers.
So others may live. That's the creed, the motto that a Navy rescue swimmer lives by. And tonight we have the honor and the privilege of having Petty Officer Foy, who exhibited that twice. As you've already heard, while out on a family outing, hiking, Petty Officer Foy and his family witnessed a distressed vessel at sea. You saw and you've already heard. Did I mention that he was in hiking gear? No fins, no swim gear, and proceeds to rescue 13. That's the first instance. The second instance, he participated in 120 missions, airlifting water to the Bonhomme Richard so that the firefighters could get in there and fight the fire, so others may live. It is also at this point in time that I would like to say that as an aviator, it is my personal and professional honor and privilege to be able to announce on behalf of the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Gilday, that when you are in distress and you look to the skies for help, it's not Maverick, it's not Goose, and it's not Rooster you want to see, it's Petty Officer Foy. So on behalf of C&O Gilday, tonight I am proud to honor with another prestigious award the 2022 Military Times Sailor of the Year, Petty Officer Foy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Petty Officer First Class Cale Foy, the 2022 Military Times Sailor of the Year.
I love my job. Good evening. I just want to say a couple thanks, especially Military Times, for setting this type of shindig up. This is awesome. A bunch of awesome people in one big room. This is an awesome venue, awesome background, a little bit of booze in the back. It's okay for a sailor. So Kelly, she's also working behind the team. She set this up for my family to make it so memorable. I thank you for that, Kelly. And then I can't forget Weston, who's the one that's in charge of setting up all these videos. These videos are awesome. I've never seen videos like this before, so thank you to that. To my wife, Min, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I thank the lucky stars every single day. Yeah. It's hard for spouses these days to get the recognition. She needs it. Through all the deployments and everything we've gone together, thank you so much for being there for me and our family. So we have our 3 kids here today, Hunter, Landon, and Jaden. They're over here on table 12. Go ahead and raise your hands. Yeah. I'm thankful they get the opportunity to see what happens when you do good unto others. That good always returns back with a smile on your face. My mother and father are also here, accompanied by my Uncle David and Aunt Ellen. My Uncle David is a retired captain in the Navy, was the reason I joined the Navy. Well, that and the brutal summer that my dad made me work for his business, crawling in 120-degree attics and fighting off raccoons underneath motorhomes. But to my uncle, thank you for the guidance that you've given me on the way. For my dad, I do love you, but I think I was grossly underpaid that summer. To my mom, thank you for always being there and teaching me to be better, just a better person. Even when I thought I was good to go, I was the best, you always had me reaching and striving for more. I appreciate that. And my last thanks, I wish I could raise a toast, but keep in memory of those who are standing the watch right now and allowing us to have this fun evening with friends, family, so others may live.
Congratulations, Kale, and what a beautiful family. How lucky. Kids, are you good swimmers? Yes? We got some future Navy SEALs. Okay, next up, we are going to present the Airman of the Year Award. And here to introduce this year's winner, please welcome to the stage Wisconsin's 6th Congressional District Congressman Glenn Grothman.
It's certainly very humbling to be up here. I really don't feel distinguished enough to be with such brave representatives of the United States. In any event, I'm here to represent Staff Sergeant Duncan Copley and tell you a little bit about his background and why he's going to be up here tonight. As American troops exited Afghanistan, refugees flooded Kabul International Airport to flee the country. Senior Airman Duncan Copley led a junior loadmaster through 16 sorties over 52 hours to evacuate refugees. During the evacuation, his crew was informed of a credible bomb threat to their C-17. Copley and a Marine Corps security team directed a rapid evacuation of the aircraft, searched all 249 passengers to ensure the aircraft was safe and was still able to ensure the flight took off on time. In addition to these actions, during the refugee evacuation, Copley is recognized as a leader in boasting morale and camaraderie by volunteering to run retirement ceremonies and even planning a squadron holiday party. Numerous morale events during the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as a Holocaust remembrance event. This young airman, like so many of our honorees, is incredibly humble. I just got a chance to sit with him, and I'll vouch for that. Incredibly humble. In any event, now we're going to introduce the video here. I think you're going to enjoy learning a little bit more about Mr. Copley.
To serve my country, it means looking out for those around me, giving back what I can, and doing the most that I can for everybody else. My name is Staff Sergeant Duncan Copley. I'm an instructor loadmaster at the 3rd Airlift Squadron, Dover, Delaware, working on C-17, the Globemaster III. I chose to serve because my father was in the Marine Corps. My family has a long line of members who have served. I wanted to make my dad proud, which is probably the main reason I joined. I took an interest in the Air Force. My recruiters told me that I was qualified to be an aircraft loadmaster. My uncle had previously retired, and he told me that aircraft loadmaster was a great job. I get to go travel the world, and that's how I got to where I am today. The Air Force has instilled a lot of traits within me. Leadership, discipline, but probably the most notable is my confidence, especially with being a loadmaster, being able to communicate thoroughly and effectively with other people. Definitely all thanks to the Air Force. Being a loadmaster is very unique because at the age of 18, they will send you across the world to go load 170,900 pounds onto any C-17, and that is a huge responsibility, being brand new to the Air Force, brand new at your job. So early on in this trade, you need to learn how to take control of any dynamic situation, take control of load teams, learn how to properly place cargo within the aircraft, learn how to properly balance the cargo on the aircraft so the aircraft can fly. On the C-17, it is very crew-oriented in that you do become a family flying with the same people all the time. You rely heavily on those around you. Being in that moment, waiting to go into Kabul for what we were told was probably one of the last few times, it was scary. There was a lot of tension. I texted my dad, it was getting pretty serious out here, and that I didn't know if I was gonna make it home, that I wanted him to look out for my mom, my sister, and my girlfriend in case I didn't make it back home. He responded with, hey, just get out there, do what you need to do so you can make it back.
The chaos in Afghanistan as thousands crowded onto the tarmac in a desperate attempt to get away from the Taliban.
I was wondering what cargo we're getting, if we're having passengers, if there was anybody who was hurt that we might need to help take care of, if we needed medical personnel out on board with us. So we were just doing it a few people at a time, making sure like families were together and that everyone was seated where they needed to be. So we called up to Tower and we told Tower our final head count, and they told us to stand by, which is pretty normal for out there. Like that was normal operations. And after a little while went by, told us that there may be a situation on board, and that a Marine Corps security personnel team was going to come out to the aircraft, and we're just supposed to hang tight until then. A few minutes later, they told us that we should open up the door and ramp and deplane people to try to alleviate the situation because there was a possible bomb threat on board. Very surreal, you don't expect that to happen to you. And I knew that I had to do my job first to make sure that everything went flawlessly. We had to work fast, effectively and efficiently to get everybody off, and that's when my training took over. We're talking with the Marine Corps security team out there, and they were doing a thorough search of the aircraft, made sure everything was clear, and as a crew we elected to re-upload everybody and bring everybody back because their lives were more important overall, and taking that chance was worth it. It's definitely very scary, very real. It's a hard situation to get through. You just can't explain any situation like that. It was so wholesome being able to see all of them and knowing that I was back. It was monumental. Looking back at Kabul and Operation Allies Refuge, definitely felt like we achieved some great things. It was the biggest airlift in history. Like, I can't explain it. It was just phenomenal, like the things that we achieved out there. The future for me in the Air Force is I plan on staying in as long as I can, hopefully retiring. But I'm gonna go wherever the Air Force puts me. Some days might be stressful, but my mom always told me things happen for a reason, and you are where you are because that's where you need to be. So right now, I'm where I think I belong. I hope to set the example of hard work pays off. If you really hone your craft and learn what you can, you're gonna do great things.
Clearly a young man who knows how to take charge of a situation, and that whole evacuation from Afghanistan. And I know there are many people in this room, some of whom I know personally as well, who assisted in that whole operation. The military was given an impossible task and pulled it off beautifully. The bravery and actions of Staff Sergeant Copley are very inspiring. Ladies and gentlemen, here to introduce the Airman of the Year, please welcome to the stage the Vice Chief of Staff for the U.S. Air Force, General David Allen.
Well, good evening, and thank you to the Military Times Foundation for putting on such a fantastic event, and for all of you for being here. I want to say that on behalf of the Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force, General C.Q. Brown, Jr. But I also want to say it personally. I want to say thank you, because it gives me the opportunity to share some great company and stand up here and stick my chest out a little bit and talk about a guy named Duncan Copley and say we wear the same uniform. I'm on his team. When I get to do that, that really makes my day. So thank you personally for that. You know, the video really, it says a lot, but it doesn't say it all. You know, we all watched that happen from thousands of miles away, and we got a little bit of the grit of what was happening on the ground there. But you know, just a month before that, Airman Copley, young 22-year-old Airman Copley, probably couldn't have imagined that's what he was going to be doing. July of last year, he was just out delivering Global Reach for America. And what does that mean as part of a C-17 crew delivering Global Reach for America? That means you're delivering hope to the desperate. You're supporting our joint force with what they need to do the operations that they need. You're telling our allies and partners, we support you. You're giving them assurance. And you're also providing a little bit of pause in the minds of the adversaries who wish to do us harm and say, maybe not today, because we can get there. We can get there and we can provide air power anytime, anywhere. That's just a day in the life of what then Airman Duncan Copley was doing as part of a C-17 crew. Probably didn't think a year ago today that within a month he was going to find himself in a situation that, although he says the training kicked in, let me tell you folks, I'd like to take credit for any sort of training that the Air Force provides, but we don't give training for that. We can't do that. We give you the basics. But to find yourself in a situation where it goes from order to chaos, and you look around and there's desperation in the eyes of some of those passengers who wanted nothing else but to get on that airplane and get out to freedom. And then you had to make this tough call, a choice without any clear answers, just tough, difficult choices with people looking at you for answers. You had to be the calm in the midst of that chaos. You had to be the confidence in the midst of that desperation. And you're a 22-year-old airman named Copley. So the training doesn't do it. There's something else there. There's something that when you look at heroes, you see that. You don't know quite where it comes from, but you appreciate that there's a character involved. There's something deeper down. And I was talking to Duncan tonight. I got a little bit of what that is. He comes by this honestly. As you heard, his dad was a Marine. His sister is in the Air National Guard. She works aircrew flight equipment, a no-fail mission to make sure the equipment for all the airmen that are up flying is working. His uncle was a major, taking care of the nuclear deterrent, another no-fail mission. And now Staff Sergeant Duncan Copley is continuing to provide Global Reach for America. And I will tell you that even though he's worn his non-commissioned officer stripe for only about 100 days now, when I look at Duncan and I see the challenges that are ahead for this nation, the challenges of an increasingly complex and threatening international security environment, you give me a bunch of Duncan Copleys and I'll go there anytime. So with that, it's my honor to recognize Staff Sergeant Duncan Copley tonight as the 2022 Military Times Airman of the Year.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Staff Sergeant Duncan Copley, the 2022 Military Times Airman of the Year.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to say that I'm deeply honored and very privileged to be here tonight. Operations Allied Refuge was a team event, and I couldn't be here without everyone else who put forth their work, determination, and skills to make it possible. I would like to thank my parents, Patty and Dave, my little sister Abigail, and my girlfriend Macy, for always being there when I need them. I'm not much of a public speaker, so that's really all I got. Thank you, guys.
Okay, you might have noticed that Duncan mentioned his mom. Patty, I know you're at table 11. Stand up, Patty. Mom? That's right. And you heard your son quote you. You give good advice. Nice job, Mom. Congratulations. Okay, now the Honorable, once again, because, you know, his call sign is Ponch, and we all love Eric Estrada, we've got to bring Mike Garcia back. The Honorable Mike Garcia will now introduce our Coast Guardsman of the Year.
Well, it's great to be back. You missed me, I'm sure. I have the honor tonight of, I came in tonight knowing I was presenting awards to 2 rescue swimmers, and I was completely biased towards the Navy guy, obviously. And then I got to meet AS2 Carlson in the back room here. And as God would have it, it's amazing how things work out. He's actually from my district in California, grew up in a town called Frazier Park, about 15 miles away from my hometown of Saugus. And I think his family's here tonight as well. So presenting to my constituent, sorry, ASW1, you get aced out by the Coast Guard guy tonight. So my privilege again, remember the theme is these guys make Aquaman look like Scuba Steve, right? The stuff these guys are doing here, and I think there's a pool upstairs. We're gonna have a competition later on for you two to see who can outswim the other guy. But on January 19th, 2021, Coast Guard Sector San Diego received a report of a disabled migrant vessel adrift in the ocean about 108 miles off the coast of San Diego. AS2 Joshua Carlson and crew arrived on scene to find a Coast Guard fast response cutter on site, but with 12-foot seas and high winds, it prevented them from launching the cutter's small boat. Carlson swam, again, this is 12-foot seas, to the vessel to triage the people on board, and for over 90 minutes swam back and forth to the boat to load occupants into a rescue basket. 90 minutes. I don't think anyone in here in their life besides these 2 gentlemen and AS2 especially has probably swam 90 minutes combined in their entire life. He did it with 12-foot seas in one session, swimming back and forth to save these occupants. But that wasn't Carlson's only act of bravery during the year. On October 20th, Carlson was also with his kids at a military housing playground when an 80-pound Rottweiler began attacking people at an adjacent playground. Carlson intervened to subdue the dog and provide first aid to multiple adults and children. Please, again, join me in watching this video and paying tribute to a true American hero.
After an hour, the adrenaline's definitely starting to wear off, and you're starting to feel the effects of how hard you're working, but that's why we train. When we push ourselves to the limit to where we're no stranger to that feeling. My name is Josh Carlson. I'm an aviation survival technician, 2nd class. I'm a Coast Guard helicopter rescue swimmer. It's the best job in the world. What makes this job unique from other jobs in the Coast Guard has got to be the community that I work with. It's a very small community, the Coast Guard rescue swimmers. There's only about 300 active duty. It's a tight-knit community. We all have that core thing in common where we're willing to put our lives on the line and jump out of helicopters into the ocean to save other people. So I got on duty. There's a low pressure front rolling through. The clouds were coming in. It was getting pretty nasty out. I walk in and the off-going crew has already been launched on another case, so they're not even there, and there's just like a buzz going around. There's this aura that you know something's gonna happen, and the alarm goes off.
We were informed that there was a migrant vessel adrift roughly 100-something miles northwest of San Diego with about 21 people on board. Myself, the other pilot, and the flight mechanic, we all talked with Josh in determining the best way to retrieve these survivors, recognizing that it was an unusual situation.
The boat's gonna be in the surf, and it's probably going to capsize or break apart, and then you have people on board that are fatigued, that are cold. These people are soaking wet. They've been out there for a couple of days. Death was absolutely a possibility if these people didn't get rescued that night. The flight mech slides the door open, wind and rain's blowing in the door. It's just extreme focus. It's game time. You're not thinking about what you got going on at home or what you got going on at work. You're just thinking about the next 5 seconds in front of your face. It's pure adrenaline. I get in the water, I disconnect, and I swim over to the boat, probably about 40 yards of the boat, pull myself up onto it, and there's 21 migrants on this boat, freezing cold. I told them I'm going to take each person one at a time off the boat. We're going to go into the water. I'm going to hoist them up in the basket, and then I'm going to come back and get each one of you off one by one by one. There's one female on board. She's going to go first. She's got a life jacket on, but she's been out there for 3 days. The last thing she wants to do is get into the frigid Pacific Ocean. And I'm telling her to calm down and, stay calm, it's okay. And while I'm putting her in the basket, I feel a tug on my leg and something tightening around my back. And I look underwater and I can see the cable going around the back of the basket, around the back of me, and going back up to the helicopter. So I'm like in the bite of the line right there. Whatever's wrapped in that cable is either getting seriously messed up or it's coming apart. In a sea state like that, we're talking 12 to 15 footers. It only takes a second before you lose sight of that cable. Get untangled the cable, give the thumbs up. They hoisted her up after that. I let go of the basket and they bring her in the cabin. After we hoisted that one person, I said, one, like it was a rep in a workout. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, we got 20 more people, but this is everything we train for. So between each hoist, I would drift so far away from this boat because of the sea state, the wind, and by the time I'd hoisted the survivor, I can't even see the boat. It's pitch black outside. The helicopter would have to move back in. I'd have to hook up, and they'd have to pick me up and relocate me back to the vessel. We got the rest of the people after that. I got in the water at 11:45, and I didn't get hoisted back in the cabin until 1:15 in the morning. I immediately started triaging the patients, trying to take care of them until we got back on deck. The look on their face was very rewarding. It was a good feeling. This job it's really unpredictable. It's really exciting. It's the most rewarding job you could ever hope to have. It's so worth it. I was really proud of my crew. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to do anything I did that night. I'm honored to get this nomination. When I receive this award, I don't hang it up in my house like it's, it belongs to me. I'm going to put it in the shop, and I'm bringing this one back for us.
And that is why we love our coasties. Semper Paratus. You might have noticed a theme tonight, Rescue Swimmers, San Diego. Ladies and gentlemen, here to introduce the Coast Guardsman of the Year Award, please welcome, my wife is going to be jealous because she always gets to introduce her when we do the Coast Guard Gala, the Commandant of the Coast Guard, the first female officer to ever head up one of the branches of the military, Admiral Linda Fagan.
Thank you. Thank you. It is my privilege to be here to introduce AST to Joshua Carlson. I've had a great evening with his family. Semper Paratus, always ready. It's the Coast Guard's motto. We attract an incredible group of talent, people willing to jump out of perfectly good airplanes and helicopters like you've just seen. I want to talk a little bit about what drew Joshua to the Coast Guard. He was drawn to the service to do something exceptional, something different, a life-saving mission. Guided by our core values of honor, respect, and devotion to duty, he has chosen to serve those and protect those in this country. Petty Officer Carlson has repeatedly demonstrated exemplary devotion to duty throughout his career as a helicopter rescue swimmer. During Hurricane Harvey in 2017, he rescued 68 people in Texas. Hurricane Florence strikes North Carolina in 2018. He again voluntarily deploys, and many challenging cases allows him to rescue 6 people and 5 dogs from a flooded home in that hurricane. And in the video we've just seen, he responds to a migrant vessel disabled adrift more than 100 miles northwest of San Diego in the cold, frigid waters of the Pacific. It's a dark night, and he courageously enters the water, and as we've heard, one by one, in 12-foot waves, breaking seas, he repeatedly swims for the survivors. He swims for over an hour and a half to effect this rescue. The Coast Guard's motto is Semper Paratus, always ready. Petty Officer Carlson has absolutely demonstrated that in each and every of his 9 years of service. I am proud to be here to represent him tonight. He lives and breathes our motto every day. Could not ask for a better representative of the service. I'm proud to have him honored as the 2022 Military Times Coast Guardsman of the Year. Please join me in welcoming him.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Petty Officer Second Class Joshua Carlson, the 2022 Military Times Coast Guardsman of the Year.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start by thanking the Military Times for putting together such an incredible event for us. Thank you so much. There was a lot of people to thank, but the people that I was most in contact with was Kelly Facer and Weston Scott. Thank you guys both for your hard work. It's truly an honor to be here receiving this award. It's an even greater honor to share the stage with such outstanding service members from each branch of the United States military. Thank you all for your service. I want to thank my wife, Jay, for your unwavering love and support over the years. Thank you to my kids, Jace, James, and Jaden. Thank you to my mom and dad, my sisters, Justine and Jill, for coming all this way to support me. I want to thank Chief Holt for putting me in for this award, and to my shop, the San Diego Rescue Swimmer Shop. Any one of those guys could have been on duty that night, and they'd be standing here before you. It's just a fact. Special thanks to my crew that night, Jack Shadwick, Jackson McGinnis, and Cody Myers. Thank you for being the outstanding professionals that you are and for getting us all home safely. And lastly, thank God for continuing to bless me and my family over the years. So others may live, and God bless America.
What an amazing evening this has been. And by the way, yes, you can actually go to the website and nominate your hero for next year. So please be thinking about that special person and nominate for next year. Tonight has truly been humbling. We are so grateful that we've been able to hear all of these stories and meet all our heroes. Just outstanding service members that have really gone beyond the call of duty. It's the men and women like this who keep us free. They help us bring peace and kindness to the world, one act of service at a time. And I love how every single person that came up to this mic said they love their job.
Yeah. Love their job, love their country, and it's always about saving lives, regardless of how they do it. The bravery and intrepidity that they show really is nothing short of astounding. Congratulations to all of our 2022 Service Member of the Year honorees tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for making this evening a wonderful evening, and we will see you again next year. Thank you.